So, GPD portable or handheld, shall I say gaming systems? I'm not sure. We'll call them portable devices. They are a thing. You may be familiar with them. I've reviewed all three of these previously. We have the GPD XD, we have the GPD Win, we have the GPD Pocket. They are all great. They're all different, and I do get asked from time to time, which is better or which should I buy? And okay, I'm aware Retro Rob did a video very similar to this in which he compared the GPD Win and the GPD Pocket, and his answer was, and I completely agree with him, it depends what you want to do with it, because they are aimed at different people, but the differences between them are subtle, and you might not necessarily know what it is that you want. So I'm going to look into that here and see if I can help. So first of all, full disclosure, the GPD Win and the GPD Pocket were given to me by GearBest to review. I did not pay for them with my own money. The GPD XD was a birthday present given to me by my wife last year. So yeah, that out of the way. What can I tell you? Obviously, or maybe not obviously, the GPD XD is the one that's been around the longest. It's an Android system. It comes with its own custom front end, which I have replaced with the standard Android interface. Physical controls, touch screen. It does what you would expect of an Android device, but allows you to play games and emulators and stuff with physical controls, which is great. I've done full reviews of all three of these. I will put links below. So I'm not going to go into all the details. You can watch the reviews for that kind of thing. But it's the differences and who they're aimed at that is of interest here. So the GPD Win is a Windows device. It runs Windows 10. And like the GPD XD, it's a handheld device with built-in game controls. You've got dual sticks, you've got a D-pad, you've got face buttons, you've got shoulder buttons, which makes it great for running emulators and some Windows games. The GPD Pocket it's similar to the GPD Win in that it runs Windows 10. It's got similar performance. Both of these in fact are slightly more powerful than the GPD XD. You can run slightly more advanced emulators. These will run things like the GameCube just about. You can do play Double Dash on them. I haven't really tried any other games. PS2 emulation, maybe not so much. You can run the PS2 emulator, but doing it well, not so much. They will play the PSP emulators marginally better than the XD will. But emulation on Windows is a slightly more fiddly affair than it is on Android. It's kind of horses for courses. How well do you know Android? How well do you know Windows? That's where the tricky question comes in on which you should choose. What is your favourite operating system? And are you actually looking to do games, or do you want to do something else or other things as well? I suppose the first question is, if you like Android, this is your choice. This is the one to go for, you know, easy answer. It is slightly less powerful. So if you want to there are so many different options actually, it's a really difficult question to answer. Which should you choose? If you want to play really a better standard of PSP emulator, or you want to tinker with GameCube, the XD is not your device. You would want one of these. Do you want something with built-in controls? If you do, and you want that bit more power, this is your device. Do you want to do stuff other than play games? This is your device. Because it doesn't come with built-in game controls, but you can type on it. And that matters a lot. and it's got the bigger screen. You can simply do more with this more conveniently, and as Retro Rob pointed out, the GPD Win, if you're an old git like me, your eyes will be absolutely knackered by now. Well, if you're unlucky. My eyes are knackered. I really struggle to see the text on this. Yes, you can enlarge it, but then you don't fit so much on the screen. It's really difficult to explain where is this aimed at. It is fiddly to do things. The stick as mouse controller, it works, but I find it kind of awkward and fiddly. But this is a handheld gaming device. You can play Windows games on it, but really I personally found it better for emulators. Windows games, I managed to get it to play Grand Theft Auto 5, but it doesn't really have the power for that kind of thing. But it does have really good storage, which this not so much. You don't have the micro SD card on here. Yeah. It's really difficult to explain, actually, or to decide. What do you want? Do you know what you want? That's the question. If you want to type stuff and do stuff online and browse, and you're not actually really looking for a gaming device, but you can play games as well, this is fantastic. I use this a lot, almost every day, kind of a laptop replacement, if you like, in my living room for Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, replying to comments. This, the GPD Win, I think is more suited to if you're out and about and you want to do your portable mobile gaming on a Windows device. You can game on this, but you need to carry a separate joypad, be it Bluetooth or USB. So that takes up more space. It's not as convenient. This is very, very convenient. Portable gaming, not much else. You're not going to type on this. You can put in some passwords and stuff, but I mean, even responding to comments and things on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, this keyboard is fiddly as hell. Yeah, you kind of wouldn't use it for that. This, the GPD XD, to my mind, it is. I find the emulators on this easier to set up. They're easy. You look on the Android Play Store and you will find all of the emulators, where on Windows you've got to go to the websites. You've got to know where to find them. Here they're all in one place. Download them, install them. You need to know where to find your ROMs. But for things like Mega Drive, SNES, PS1 up to N64 is okay. There is a decent Atari Jaguar emulator on here now as well, and Android games like there's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and Vice City, and probably is Grand Theft Auto 3 on there. I haven't put that on there, but I imagine they do that as well on Android. Could be wrong. It's great. I really like it. It's easy. It's easy and convenient and has a reasonable amount of power, and it's the cheapest of the three by a wide margin. So I'll tell you what I do, my own personal choices. If I want mobile gaming, if I'm going anywhere and I think I might be sitting around for a while with some time to kill, I take this. If I'm going to be sitting around in the living room and there's something on the telly that I'm not interested in, Andrea's watching telly, and I'm like, I don't care, but I want to be in the same room as Andrea. You know, it's like, be sociable, don't go and hide upstairs and play games there. I will play with this. The GPD Pocket, I also have that in the living room for, as I said, doing things like replying to comments. I don't use it so much for gaming. It will do things that this won't, but it's like you got to plug in that joypad. I find the two complement each other really well, which leaves the GPD Win. This, I think, would be suited to someone other than me. I would use this a lot if I had better eyes, but I don't. My eyes are shot, so I struggle with it. I also find the layout of the controls slightly less comfortable than on here. These are very similar to the The Nintendo, the 3DS, something, I can't actually remember exactly how the controls are laid out on that, but it feels that comfortable, where these not so much. Which is not to say that this is a bad device. It impresses me in a great many ways. It packs a lot of power into a small device, and as a portable Windows gaming device, it's second to none. I just find Android easier for doing that kind of thing on the go. Ultimately, it is your choice. There are differences between each of these. This is cheaper, it runs Android, it is the easiest of the three to use, in my opinion. This costs more, it has more power, it actually might be the most powerful of the three. It has quirks, it is harder on the eyes, but as a portable Windows gaming device, purely for gaming, it's the one to go for. If you want something with a bit more flexibility and not quite so focused on gaming, GPD Pocket. What I will say about all of them, for gaming, because they can all game very capably, they are not a Nintendo handheld. If you're used to your, well, let's say your DS and your 3DS, and I don't know about the Switch, I haven't used things like that. If you're used to a Nintendo handheld where you just pick it up, download the game and play it, you're not going to find these quite so easy. They are all systems which require a little bit of knowledge about how the operating system works, about emulators. You can't just download, oh, I don't know. It's like MAME. You've got MAME will run on all of them, so you can play classic arcade games, but you don't just download the game. You've got to download the emulator, you've got to install it, you've got to get the ROMs, configure them, configure the controls. They take some effort, which is something some people are not prepared for. They think they're buying a Nintendo and they're just like, download the game and play it. These are not that. None of them. You need to know what you're doing. I believe that the XD is the easiest. You still need to know how to run Android. You still need to know how to configure emulators. But if you do, it's brilliant. I love it. Actually, I love all of these. I think they're brilliant each at what they do. So, you're probably none the wiser after all of that, really. I don't know if I've helped. It is actually really difficult to explain. What are they for? And really, I mean, what do you want? That is the question that always, when people ask me, which should I buy? I always ask the question back, well, what do you want to do with it? And if you don't know what you want to do with it, I can't answer your question. But if you do, I hope I've answered the question for you. Maybe. Or maybe I've just waffled for an amount of time and bored you rigid. Apologies if I have. Apologies if you're none the wiser. All great systems. Android, cool. If you like Android, that's the one to go for. Slightly more powerful. Windows, aimed almost completely at gaming. It can do other stuff, but is fiddly as hell if you want to, and will just trash your eyes if you're trying to read stuff. Flexible mini laptop that can also game. Brilliant devices, each well suited to a particular kind of use that is not necessarily easy to define. I'm going to stop repeating myself now. Links to the individual reviews at the bottom. Also links, I imagine, and possibly voucher codes for GearBest, where you can buy each of these devices. Okay, thank you for watching.
Right. Hit the subscribe button or I'm getting naked on camera. Go on, do it. Right, you asked for it. Ah, you asked for it. Ha, ha, oh.